Hello, and thank you for virtually having me here today. Excited to be here and excited to give this presentation. Marketing, your practice, and trends. That's what I'm here to talk about. That's what I'm going to discuss. My name is Tom Kiesel, and I am with Beyond Indigo Pets. To give you a little background, Beyond Indigo Pets has been in the market for 25 years, focused on veterinarians and their practices. So really the leading expert in the area and definitely the go-to resource for any veterinarian that is seeking marketing support or a new website or anything really in the whole world of marketing. Little bullet points about what we do: website design and maintenance. And then these next 3 bullet points are what we're going to talk about today. What I'm going to talk about today: SEO, social media, and PPC. So those are 3 things that Beyond Indigo Pets does for our clients, and we really are experts in that area. Beyond that, Beyond Indigo content creation, we can write all the content for your website, make sure it's SEO optimized. Blog writing is another service we have blog writers, and most of our clients use this. This is a great way to keep your website fresh and active, and we'll post 1, 2, 3 blogs for customers during the month, and it really is a great way to not just engage the customers and the potential customers, but to show Google that you're active and that you are a industry leader and an expert in the area that people might be searching for. And then online reputation management is another thing we do, so online reviews and that kind of stuff. So I'll touch on that a little bit briefly. Next, let me tell you that there's my 2 pets there, Shadow at top and Tiger, and there's a very good chance that Tiger appears during this, so I apologize for him in advance, but he definitely likes to come up here. So if you see Tiger, don't be alarmed. So let's get started, and I just want to talk about you right now online, and how that's important and how extremely important it is, really. So for the sake of all the cute kittens in the world, be smart when you're online. Whenever you're online, on social media, wherever you're at, be smart. Think about it before you post it. Think about it before you write it. It will follow you forever. The internet doesn't forget. So people can and they will see what you've posted. So definitely use caution. I know you heard it before, but I just feel obligated to say it again. Everything you do online can have an effect on your career, relationships, your future. It can really have an effect on you. So you don't want to put yourself into a bad position by being angry one day and saying some things that you maybe don't mean or whatever. And you'd be lucky if the worst thing that people could find would be some embarrassing photos from you from your blunder years. So if there is anything you take away from this, be smart when you're online and be smart when you're on social media, and really know that it is forever. I can show you a tool here. This is the Internet Archive, the Wayback Machine. This is my company's website, beyondindigo.com. So I punched that in there, and you can see that the Wayback Machine has 547 versions of our website. So pretty much every time we made a change, they have a snapshot of it that I can go and view. It doesn't have to be live anymore. You can see all the way back into 2001. You can see what our website looked like then. So that just goes to show you just how the internet and social media, it truly is forever. And there's resources so that people can really dig things up on you if they really want to. So that's why I say don't put anything out there that you might regret. And if you think you're being incognito, trust me, they know who you are. So I'm going to show you a couple of, and this is without even trying, I'm going to show you a couple high-level demographics that will kind of show you what people know about you, what different companies know about you, and what everybody kind of knows about you. If you look at this simple slide, on the left, you can see that we have information about your age, your gender, your household income, your parental status, and that's just a very high level. It gets even deeper: education, financial, life events, whether you're parents or not, your family and your relationship, food and drink, what kind of food and drink you have, your digital activities. So pretty much a very a very robust look at what you are. So they're classifying you right now. And granted, I don't have the ability to drill down into a single person, a solid or a single IP address or anything like that. So I can't connect all the dots, but know that those dots are connected. So you are definitely they know who you are, and they know what you're doing online. You can see school, income, if you're in the top 10% of your zip code, your relationship status, like I said before, what you drink, what you like to eat, your digital activities, and this is, I didn't even begin to touch on what they know about you from your phone. When you start looking into the mobile world and what the phone is capturing, they know everything, where you go, where you spend your time. You're carrying around a GPS in your pocket at all times. So just be smart. I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. And so now you're probably all kind of like freaking out and thinking you're going to delete your online accounts, but you don't want to do that. You do actually need an online presence. And let me give you an example of why. So you're presented with these three candidates, right? And you can only interview one of them. They're just coming out of college, so they don't have a lot of work experience. So you do some Googling, and this is the information that you know. So based on what you see here, who would make it into the interview room to potentially land that job? You have candidate A. You see that they have some pictures posted. They're getting married. Very exciting. Then you see that they post some polarizing memes and content online, and they kind of argue with people in the comments. Maybe not a lot, but you see it there. And then you see some great pictures of him or her hiking with their German Shepherd. So you know that they're active with pets and have an active lifestyle. Candidate B, lots of pictures, family, pets, friends. They have an active LinkedIn profile with a professional headshot. And you can see on LinkedIn that they belong to groups related to veterinary medicine. And then candidate C, look at this, senior vice president, CEO at Susie's Veterinary Extravaganza. But there's no connections on LinkedIn, and you can't find a social media profile there. So you're kind of questioning, does this really exist, or are they making this stuff up? So based on these three candidates, obviously, and if you can only choose one, you're going to select candidate B. So that's who's going to make it to the interview. So when you're doing things online, think about, you want to be candidate B. You don't want to be candidate C without an online presence, and you certainly don't want to be candidate A that's arguing with people and posting some controversial or polarizing content. So what are people looking for? Let's talk about that. They want to see a digital footprint, and they definitely don't want to see any embarrassing information or polarizing information. And they want, basically, what it boils down to is they want a person with a digital identity that is appealing. So you don't want to be void of having an online presence. That can be a little bit of a flag for people. And you certainly don't want your online presence to reflect poorly on you, on your persona. So, and this doesn't really change that much once you do start to work, once you do move into a practice, how you're going to handle yourself online. It's the same stuff, right? Never changes. So before you have a job or when you have a job, be smart. Remember that it's forever, and just always be smart. So what are some of the tips that you can use when you have for your workplace, for your online social medias in the workplace? Just continue to be active on LinkedIn, right? That's a very where everybody goes in the career, and that's a great resource for people searching for jobs, and a great resource for employers looking for candidates. If you can, use a professional headshot, or at least do your best to take your own. I know it can be costly, but do your best to take a good looking headshot. It's important. And that image is going to be your online identity, and you're probably going to use that image in multiple places. You would like to have, like I say here, get on the About Us page at your veterinary practice. You would like to, if you can, use the same headshot for your LinkedIn and your and their website, because that immediately draws recognition, and that picture becomes part of your identity and part of your online image. And if you're inclined to do so, and definitely don't have to, right? But if you want to interact with the practice's social media, that's always good. It shows, that you're a positive candidate, or I'm sorry, a positive worker, and really enjoy what you're doing, and it gets you noticed a little bit too. So, but that's not as important as some of the other things that I've mentioned. So let's move to marketing a practice. Now we covered all the U's, how you should act then and now and forever. So marketing a practice, and what I'm going to be talking about is the landscape today, 2022. What people are doing, and particularly what people are doing in the veterinary hospitals and my clients, the clients I deal with. That's what I'm going to be talking about. And for the most part, and this applies to all companies, but you're looking at the big three. These are the topics I'm going to talk about today. You have SEO, you have PPC, and then you have your social. Those are the three all-encompassing. It's not everything, but they're the big topics that I want to talk about, and the big topics that you should know, even if you don't want to be experts, and really you don't need to be experts. That's why people like me and companies like Beyond Indigo Pets exist. But you should know at least some high-level stuff, because it is going to come up, and you want to be able to make informed decisions, right? And you want to know at least high-level aspects of these things, so you can talk with the marketing people and really come up with a plan that suits your business the best. So I'm going to start with SEO. It's just 3 simple letters, but it really means so much, and it encompasses pretty much everything on your website. The term SEO, it's tossed around pretty loosely. The term SEO is tossed around pretty loosely, but I don't think people really understand just how involved it is. So I'm going to go into that a little bit, and we're going to talk about what is SEO and get into some details of it. But first, let's start with what is the goal of the search engine. So when you're looking at SEO, or search engine optimization, first thing you want to look at is those first two, the S and the E. And what is the goal of the search engine? So what is Google's goal? A, obviously, monetize all your personal information. So that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment, but that truly is what they're trying to do. But B, they are trying to provide the most relevant websites when someone performs a search. If you think about it, if the search engine you're using tosses up bad results, garbage results, people are going to switch. So they're not going to be able to collect all that personal information that they can then monetize. They're not. So they're really, really making an effort to ensure that the most relevant and the most useful content, what they think their end users will like, appears first. So let's take a look at how they serve up the results when a search is performed. So like I said, they want to provide the most relevant websites. And how do they do that? First, they crawl. They're perpetually crawling every website, and they're looking for certain things. They're looking for the words on the page. They're looking at your images and your videos, and people like me provide the data on the behind the scenes there in text, so that they understand, so that their web crawlers can understand what those images think. But they're really trying to get a feel for exactly what your site is offering, exactly what your business does, and determine how the user experience will be if they go ahead and click on your site. If you do a search right now for anything, Google really, or any search engine provider, really wants to provide the best possible results for you, because that's how you keep going back to Google and using Google. And that's how they make money, really, by providing good results that people can trust. Since we generally know, and they use an ever-changing and undefined algorithm. So that's how we kind of stay in business, because Google always changes. It's not they change once a year, once every, they change multiple times, and they can do it on a whim, and they change how search engine or websites are crawled, what they're looking for, and how they display results. So that's why you really want to be on top of your SEO, and it's why it's a good idea, if you can, to have a company like Beyond Indigo, do SEO for you, because you're too busy with your actual job. You don't have time to be paying attention to all the changes that happen and making sure your website's optimized for everything that changes. So like I said, you have to optimize your sites for all of this. Since the algorithm's undefined, you really need to stay on top of things. You really do. Back in the day, you used to be able to just stuff keywords right into your website, into the back end of titles, tags, descriptions. That's what people used to do. So you would get a lot of bad results because people were stuffing these words into their website and back in their meta descriptions and that stuff. But it's really evolved from there. And now they're looking for content. That's basically what Google is looking for. And they're looking for other variables such as obviously keywords still, but they're looking at the speed of your site. That's a very important thing. I'm going to take a quick look at that down the road here a little bit, but they're looking at the speed of your site. They don't want to load. They don't want you clicking on a site link that's just going to lag and not going to pull up things. That's a bad user experience. So they're very conscious of that. So if you have a poorly performing site, very likely you're going to drop down. Not very likely, you will definitely drop down in the rankings because Google feels that's a bad end user experience. Like I said, they're looking for content. And when I say that, you can see I have activity and updates listed here. They're looking for content, scanning it to make sure that you have the proper keywords, but also that things are changing and that you're an active company. So that's why blogs are very important. It keeps your website fresh if you post a blog at least once a month. Google recognizes that and recognizes that you are an active company or an active veterinary practice in my case. And that's important to them. So the more they don't want to show stale things. So if you kind of put a website up there and don't change it for 5 years, Google's really going to ding you hard on that. And they're very unlikely to serve you up high. And really much more. So like I said, I'm going to show you a quick snapshot of how Google looks at it in terms of speed. And these are just some of the things that Google uses to determine where you'll rank in the results. And you can, we'll just talk about this real quickly, but the first thing you can see, reduce initial server response time. So this is a recommendation that Google's making, and it can save 1.2 seconds. So reduce unused JavaScript, 0.8 seconds. So those are some recommendations to really help speed you up and make Google want to show you. But if you look down in the middle here, let me just show you how nuanced this is. Ensure text remains visible during web font load. And they have some URLs, and you can see where the potential savings is 320 milliseconds. So we're talking very, very increments of a second matter to Google. So that's why the technical SEO side is something that is very important. And that's the hardest thing, I think, for people to understand, and nor should everybody understand. If you're in a veterinary practice or in any business, you shouldn't have to worry about these milliseconds in this technical aspect of SEO. And now for a few years now, the focus is really on mobile performance and the user experience. So that's why you see some of these results have changed, actually, and they're more geared towards people's phone and what they're searching for on their phone, and that they're having a good user experience on their phone. So really, it's been this way for a while now, but really in my world, in the world of marketing and digital marketing and in online, it's a mobile first. It's very much a mobile first way to look at things. We want to, it used to be you used to make a website for your desktop, and then we would just do some stuff to make sure that it looked fairly good, responsive on your mobile phone. Now it's more designing for the mobile phone and then working it to the desktop from that point. So let's look a little bit at the user experience that's so important to Google. And I'm going to do that by showing you we call it a SERP, a search engine results page. So it's a little small, I know. But on the left, you can see this is a search I did. And I just did it for doctor. I couldn't do veterinarian because I'm logged, because they know me and they pull up relevant stuff to me. So I use doctor, and you can see kind of where we're at. I'm going to dive into a little bit. Let's go to the next slide. At the very top, you have the two ads, right? So you have two ads. Then you get into the map, which I'm going to dive into more as we get down the road here in a little bit. And then you get into some dictionary stuff, some questions people ask. You get into some news. And then at the very, very bottom, those last two results, they're the organic search results. So once you're past all the doctor and the news stories, you get those bottom two results, which is the organic. This is admittedly a bit of an extreme case. Doctor is a very broad keyword, but you get the idea of why. A topic I'm going to be talking about next is PPC and pay per click, because you can see those two ads at the top, much more appealing than having to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page to get to the organic results. But before I do that, I'm going to look at the map view or the local listings, which is very important, right? That's something very important when you consider especially your Google, but your online presence, especially when it comes to Google. These local search results are enormous, right? They drive so much traffic to people. They drive phone calls, emails. They give you directions. They're so valuable, and we all use them. And I want to show you a little bit about what's driving that. That doesn't just happen. That box that appears on the right-hand side of the search result doesn't just happen. But anyway, let me go through what it is a little bit, and then I'll show you kind of the back end of it. You can see this is a hospital, one of my clients, Bayside Animal Hospital. So you get so much important information here. You can see website, directions. You can call them right from here. You get reviews right from here. You get popular times. So much valuable information is dumped right into that box on the right. It also appears into the map view. So the Google My Business appears in the map, the local listings, and all that vital information is right there. It's so important. Most of us probably go right to that. If we see that's what we're searching for, we just hop right into there. But like I said, that doesn't just happen. This is us managing it. So whenever I go into the admin section to control what that right box says, this is the information that I have available to me and what I kind of control. So posts, I can create posts. It's good to do that. Google likes to see an active Google My Business account. They like to show that. They're going to show that more often if it's active. If it's just kind of sitting by the wayside, it's less likely that they're going to show you that box on the right-hand side. And you really want that, because you know how valuable that information is, how much valuable information there is, and how much you probably use it yourself. Information, that's where I can put information about my businesses or my business, and hours is in there. Just a lot of good information, your website and all that kind of stuff. This is stuff that I'm putting in there. Google isn't just showing that arbitrarily. I'm controlling what that is. The insights gives you some reporting. That kind of gives me an idea of who's calling, how many calls we're driving. You get messages. Another thing we get is messages. You can get a message right from there, and you can also get it sent right to your phone from there. So you can basically an SMS, a text, you can get right from Google My Business if you're a business owner. Photos, people upload photos sometimes. Customers can do that, and we also do that. So this is just some of the information that you see. Google My Business, what we call Google My Business in the local listings, such an important part, but this is an important piece that we really manage and is vital. It's really, at this day and age, it's vital to any industry, any business. It's vital to have that information there and to really monitor it and make sure that it's showing what you want it to show, is up to date, has the proper hours. If your business is going to be closed for a day, you want to make sure that this is updated. So very important to take care of this, as it is such a vital part to the SERP, the search engine result page, when people are searching for your business or a business like yours. So let's move on to an important piece of the puzzle. Most of our clients have a pay-per-click budget, and most of their spend in that world goes to Google ads. So that's what I'm going to talk about most. Obviously, there is Bing ads. There's other ads. There's other search engines that do it, but for the most part, Google is still the the leader in this and where most of our ad spend goes. This is where the demographics that I showed you before come into play, and how Google tries to show. So they want to show relevant search results, and that includes ads, right? They want to make sure that the ads are relevant too, especially since they're the top two things you see. They really, really, really want to make sure that those two ads are relevant to someone searching for something. So let's take a quick, this could be a semester-long course. So I'm just going to really go over some high-level things. If you look at this particular slide, you'll see how kind of things are broken up in Google AdWords. On the left is the campaign. So multiple campaigns we are running, and then you can see the budget. So this particular practice has quite a high budget, right? They're really pushing the AdWords and really driving a lot of traffic to their location and their website through ads. You can see $253 a day, $116 a day. So you can really see how much they're spending to make sure that their ads are being shown. Because if you have a smaller budget, like for example, $5 a day at the top there, a smaller budget, and Google, basically what can happen is Google can burn through that budget really quickly in a day, and then your ads will no longer be serving. So later on in the day, or however Google operates, that your ads might not be showing because they're restrained from budget. So it's something that we have to monitor and kind of determine what the proper budget per day is. And if $253 a day is not in your price range, that's fine. That's not a deal breaker. It's still good to use the Google ads. You just have to make sure that you're serving the proper ads up and make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck. And I'll show you a little bit down the road how you can do that and how we kind of monitor that. But each campaign is there, and then you can see the keywords that we use. So which particular keywords that we think people are going to use to search for the site, and that we know. We can go into Google Analytics and see how what they're searching for to end up on our site. So we do know what search terms are using. So we make those keywords for the various campaigns, and then we narrow it down a little bit. You can see the negative keywords. For instance, this client isn't open 24 hours, right? So one of the negative keywords is 24. So if someone does a search with 24-hour veterinary, this one isn't going to show because we are excluding 24, because that isn't the traffic we want. And that's kind of some of the stuff we do to really reduce wasted spend on bad clicks. We then, you can see in each campaign has ad groups where you finally see the ads. When the ads, these little blurbs of text in the middle there, and there's a lot to them. Some of them have snippets where you can have the phone number, you can have services. You'll see different search results with different ads with different information. These ones are very general, kind of, but we create multiple versions of each ad. For each ad group, we have multiple versions, because what we're really trying to do is make them relevant and appealing, and Google is going to determine which ones are the best from that ad group. So that's why we give them 5, 6, 7, whatever amount to choose from. They're going to, over time, show the different ads, and they're going to determine which ones they think are best, and those are the ones that they're going to show most likely. So, I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense, because after all, Google and my client, me, we want the ads to be shown to the right people. So this is the kind of stuff where it's important to really pay attention to. It's not really a set it and forget it kind of thing. You have to really go in, and I'm going to show you on the next slide kind of how we look at it a little bit, but you really have to manage it and make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on. And the last little thing in there is the targeted location. So you can see for these particular ads, what areas are being targeted. You can do a radius 3 miles around. You can do a zip code. One you can even do, they have the 1 mile around, and they have the coordinates there. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it, but that's when you think about a veterinary practice, you're really looking for logo traffic. It's different than a big major website that is a national thing. A veterinary practice is very localized, obviously, so targeted locations is very important, and that helps, right? When you're competing for placement in the Google Ads. If you have a smaller location, you're not competing with as many. So if you're trying to compete on a national scale, the cost is much higher. And if you're competing on a lower scale, you can really drive that cost down because you don't have as much competition. So you really want to dive in and make sure you're targeting your location when you're doing something like this for a veterinary practice that is very localized. So let me show you a super quick, fast version of what we're doing after the ads are up and running. Once they're up and running, we're really looking to optimize them. We want to drive down the cost per conversion. So you can see on this one, it costs per conversion of $25.58. So every time we make a conversion, and in this instance, a conversion is considered a that they have gone online and requested an appointment. You can make a conversion. That's what this particular case is. We determine what a conversion is. So a conversion can be that they made it to your website. Not the best, but it is it's something that we can track. We can track if they made a phone call. That's a good conversion because there's a good chance that they're calling either at least for more information and very likely to schedule an appointment. But in this case, for this particular ad, we have it set up as for this particular account, we have the conversion set up as they actually scheduled an appointment. So we know that 10 appointments were scheduled during this time frame, and then it cost us $25.58 each time one of those conversions was made. So when you take a look at how much the value of a conversion, you can really see that $25.58 looks like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much when you consider the potential revenue a client can bring in, and especially if that client stays around and stays a client for years and years to come. So what we're doing is really trying to look at this and move these numbers. We can see the impressions of 1,559 with a click-through rate of almost 6%. Average cost per click. So every time someone clicks on that, it's $2.75. Sounds like a lot, right? And it is. It adds up for sure. And that's why we really want to drive down and narrow down our search to relevant people and relevant keywords. And that's why we're always in here monitoring what keywords are pulling up our ads and narrowing that down, eliminating bad keywords. We don't want bad traffic, not when we're spending $2.75 every time someone clicks on an ad. We don't want to serve that up just randomly. If you have an infinite amount of money and an unlimited budget, it would be easy to just throw all these keywords in there and appear a lot of times, but it wouldn't be relevant. You wouldn't be driving the kind of traffic you need, and eventually Google would probably catch on anyway, because that would be a bad user experience for them or for their customers, which is all of us that are use their search products. So it's definitely something that we have to do is ensure we're not driving bad traffic in and make sure that we're getting a positive return on investment. You don't want to just have an endless budget that's driving web traffic, but isn't really driving conversions, isn't really driving people to your business. You're just kind of showing up, getting clicks, but they're not good clicks. So that's where we have to really monitor it closely all the time. Really, we're in there daily, looking at how different ads are performing, different campaigns are performing, and making adjustments, minor tweaks here and there, and looking at trends, seeing how things are going, how Google predicts things are going to perform in the coming month, coming weeks. Maybe making a budget adjustments there. If we see something that's going to be trending, we might have to spend a little bit more. We might up the budget. If we see something, for example, boarding. If you look at boarding for a veterinary place, that's going to be higher in vacation months, right? So maybe we pull back on that in October, November, but we increase our budget come May, June, July, August, because that's when people are searching for it. So those are the types of little adjustments that we're making to try to make the best experience for our users and try to drive down the cost and ensure good traffic for our customers. Typically, what you want to see, if we were to start out brand new, you probably want to have a higher ad spend at first. When you have a new website or a new practice, it's good to have a higher website at first, and then that makes sure that you're at least appearing right in the search on this search results page, search engine results page. You're at least appearing there in the ads. That's when we work on the SEO, because the SEO takes time. It's not a quick fix kind of thing. It definitely is a long, drawn out, time consuming venture for Google. You can't just launch a website, have the keywords be there, and Google be like, oh, you're great. We're going to show you first. You have to prove to Google that you have relevant content and that you are updating your website and you're driving some traffic to the website and people are staying. There's a lot of stuff Google's looking for. So while you're ramping up and creating all those blog posts, making sure your content's good, making sure that your website is funneling people to the leads, or funneling people to submit a lead form or appointment form properly. Just all that stuff. While you're doing that, that's a good idea to have the ads running. And then once we kind of start catching up down the road, probably 6 months at least, when SEO starts picking up and you start appearing in those organic search results, that's when we can try to really drive down the cost of the AdWords, right? So the AdWords is a good kickstart to get us off the ground. It's like the first rocket of the spaceship, right? And then it kind of falls off. It doesn't fall off completely. It's never a good idea to just end them, but you can definitely start reducing your budget as your organic traffic grows from all your SEO efforts. So last thing of the big three that I want to talk about, and that is social media. So everybody knows what social media is. I'll talk briefly about why it's important for a business and how or why they use it. And basically, it's pretty simple. Engage potential customers. Google cares. Google cares that you have an active social media profile. That's one of the things that they're going to take into consideration when they're looking at your website to rank them in the search engine results. So Google cares. Because Google cares, we care. And it shows that you're active and involved. I mean, you can get a very personal kind of touch. You can really make a connection with people through social media that you can't in other ways. So it's definitely a great thing to do. Obviously, you can't be on there all the time. That's why companies like mine, like Beyond Indigo, exists. And because we can do that more often. We can let you know when something is important that you need to respond to. And we can handle some of the smaller stuff ourselves. But let's look at which platform we're using. And first of all, we don't decide. The public decides, and we as marketers follow. So, but basically in the veterinary space today, this is what we're using. Facebook is still pretty much our bread and butter. That is very important in our world, in our ecosystem. We drive a lot of stuff through Facebook. Reddit is something that we're exploring a bit. Beyond Indigo is exploring. We think there's some value there, and we definitely know that that's where a lot of people are. So maybe right now, but we can look down the road, and we think that is going to be a good opportunity for us, because who knows, Facebook, you never know, things are going bad. You have to be kind of prepared. But at the end of the day, we're going to go wherever the users are. Nextdoor, definitely a very good local. It's good for anything local, so it's definitely something good for our practices to be involved in. TikTok is something that we're experimenting with. We're doing that because we see such a good following there. We want to be active there and at least understand it. So that's something that we're really starting to look into, and it's fun. It's fun for us to do. So it's definitely on our radar to really nail down in 2022 and make sure that we're in the know on all the TikTok. LinkedIn, it's good to have personally, you should all have a LinkedIn, right? It's very important. I think it's one of the first things that anybody's going to look for when they're looking to hire you. From a veterinary practice standpoint, it doesn't hurt, right? You don't have to post on there regularly or anything, but you should at least have your profile, right? Have your logo there, have a little bit about you information, just like you want to know that a potential employee exists. A potential employee wants to know that you exist, and where can they find you? On LinkedIn. It's a good thing, and maybe that will be something down the road that we use more. Who knows? But it's definitely something that it doesn't hurt to at least set up the profile. And Instagram, that kind of goes hand in hand with Facebook. We see a lot of users there. It's a very good tool, and it's a very nice interactive thing. So content's a little bit different there, but it's a tool that we use regularly, and we get some good interaction with our potential customers. So let me talk a little bit about the various ways we're using social media for our clients. Organic is posts, likes, messages, comments. People even book appointments. They make phone calls. So you're just doing a regular post. You're out there making sure that people see that you're active, engaging the clients, engaging your audience, really, and it's just a great way to build that existing customer base into people that you can count on for revenue down the road. So the organic stuff drives a lot of good stuff, and people will reach out to you. They'll message you, hey, I have a question about my cat. I have a question about my dog. Can I get an appointment now? And it's good to be monitoring that, because if that's the way they choose to communicate with you, you don't want to neglect anybody. So you want to be able to have someone that's aware of that's happening and be able to get back to them in a timely enough fashion. And then amongst the organic or beyond the organic, we do some paid, right? So the paid traffic does the same kind of thing as above. It drives all those things, but it's doing it for people that don't already know you or don't already follow you. And that's where you can get into some of the targeting. So not just location, but targeting pet lovers, right? Or targeting people that have recently shopped at a pet store or something like that. So really kind of putting your Facebook profile, for example, into view of people that maybe aren't familiar with you, and that's where they can learn more about you, follow you, and hopefully all that leads into them eventually booking an appointment and becoming a lifelong customer. So that's pretty much my presentation in the nutshell. The big three: SEO, PPC, pay-per-click, and social media is the main focus of marketing efforts right now in 2022. That's where we think everything's going to remain, at least for a little while, but who knows? Marketing is an ever-changing world, and just like you have to stay up with all the latest and greatest in the veterinary world and all the best practices, we have to do the same thing in marketing. Google changes their stuff all the time. Someone has to be on top of that and be able to make sure that your company's moving with the ripples that are being set in motion by companies like Facebook and Google. So just want to thank you for your time and your attention. I know I talked fast and I rambled on a little bit, but I just really want to thank you. It was great to talk. I wish I could have been in person, but it was great to talk to my computer screen, pretending that it was a bunch of people like you. If you have any questions, there's my email. Honestly, I'll do my best. Try to just reach out to me, and I can answer any questions or go into a little more detail for you about some things. And check us out online, Beyond Indigo Pets. It's a great company, a great place to work, and I really think that we're going to be around for a long time. So if you're down the road, you start your own practice, that's definitely the first place you should go and look. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.